What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to PlayStation Generation. My name is Matt, and I'll be your host for today's events. I'm joined, as always, by the PlayStation Hokage himself, Mr. Rice. Boy, what's up, Rice?
What's good? What's good? It's good to be
It
back.
is
I'm
good to
feeling good.
see
I'm
you, my
feeling good.
friend. I feel like I'm like the master of a carousel at like
Mm.
a theme park on a harbor. You know what I mean? Like I feel
Ooh,
like the last little while it's been like Court's here, Rice is gone.
yes.
Rice is here, Court's gone. Court's here.
Mm.
And I'm
Ebbs and
just sitting
flows.
and I'm just sitting there manning the operation. You know what I mean? Horses in, horses
Oh,
out, you know?
and we thank you for our noble captain, Matthew.
It's weird hearing you call me Matthew. I feel like I did something wrong. You
Oh
know?
man, I have so many friends named Matt, and that is the move when I want to make them feel a certain type of way.
It definitely hits me right in the gonads.
But I
Uh
kind of meant it to be endearing. Yeah.
I felt the endearing. I didn't feel the
hmm
scold. It's just like,
Right.
like the flashbacks kick in.
Right. Your
You know?
body just goes into
Jolts.
survival mode. Of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah. Court's out this week. He's doing some grown-up stuff
Mm.
on the places that has to happen. Um
Adulting.
he's adulting, so Rice and I will be holding it down this week as we talk about PlayStation Plus. We're gonna talk about Mind's Eye. We're gonna be talking
Mhm.
about Hogwarts Legacy and the
Yeah,
lack thereof.
yeah.
So prepare thyself and strap in for a whole lot of adventure. By the way,
Yes, sir.
this episode 49. Next week will officially be half a century
49.
old.
What?
Can you
50.
can you believe it? Right, this episode 49. So fine.
It really does feel not that long ago that you messaged me like, you want to start a podcast?
Mm.
And that was like a super exciting. I felt like super new, but I have to say, like after all of these episodes, I feel like a
Filled
new
with regret.
creator. Not at all, not at all. Only good things. I've truly like learned so many things about the industry, even just in having conversation on in this podcast form. It's been a really cool journey. So yeah, thanks for letting me come along
Dude,
and just be stupid with you.
it is the honor of my honor.
Aw.
Because a little inside baseball, a little behind the scenes.
Ooh.
Uh
Sports.
when Court and I were like, it's time to come back
Mm,
and we need Rice. And we
mm,
messaged and I messaged you, and it took you a couple days to get back to us because that's
it
life.
did.
Things happen. And Court and
Sure.
I were like, he hates us. He never. There's
Oh
no way
no.
this. He's trying to think of a nice way to say no because he's a nice guy like that. We were panicked, bro. We're like, we need him. He completes us. There's good
No,
vibes. We
that's the
need that
arc.
warmth. We need the warmth. We need the positivity. We need Rice. You
Oh
know. And
man.
like for a few days, we're like, it's Jover, man. Like this is just wrap it up. Call
No,
it. What's even the point of coming back?
the origin story just has meat on its bones. It provides the tension to the resolve.
And to the sexual tension.
Oh, absolutely. Where's the Vaseline?
What's up, Chris? Good to see you in the chat, my dude. Where is that Vaseline? Scoop that bad boy out.
What up, Chris?
Double handed. Without further ado, before we get into all the news, though, as
Mm,
as we do, we got to chat a little bit, my dude, because
yes,
there's
sir.
been games to play in, and it's been a second since we've caught up together. So I gotta
Truth.
ask, what's been keeping you busy?
Yes, I have been deep into Assassin's Creed. Actually, I don't know if I want to say deep because I've spent 20 hours, but I am thoroughly just enjoying the world and exploring and kind of doing everything unguided and just doing whatever, enjoying the mechanics and uh, you know, I think that in every through every title, uh I have notes, but this has been an overall like hugely positive experience for me. So like I'm glad, I'm happy for Ubisoft, I'm happy for this game, and for anyone that is really enjoying it and who's excited to play it. Yeah.
I'm gonna I'm gonna veer off for a second here and actually
Mm.
pull in our first question
Oh.
because Mr.
hmm
Dave Pietrangelo writes in with a question
Yeah,
about
Dave.
Assassin's Creed Shadows. Dave
hmm
asks, has AC Shadows held your attention/interest? Sure, it's a large open world game, but does it have the staying power if you're someone who needs to play and work through it over several weeks?
Mm. It's a great question. Honestly, I saw the question and I was intrigued.
Hmm.
And I have actually been asking this question in a different way amongst the community. My sister also has played this game, and I think that I've had kind of like a bunch of different pockets of answers, and it really does depend on, I guess, uh how much you want to be in an Assassin's Creed game.
Mhm.
So for my sister, for example, it's the first one that has kind of fully hooked her in, and she's drawn to characters. Maybe perhaps because she feels like she looks like Naue, and and she like loves her character.
Mhm.
And so it's interesting to hear from someone who has not played the Assassin's Creed games but is like, oh, I really like this one. But also, like, if you have an affinity to Japan, and the culture around these time periods and the storytelling in and around that, then you're going to enjoy this game. Now, the question I was kind of like gonna land on is like, how do you basically play the game, which is what this question is. um I typically kind of just try and clear the map of its fog. That's
Mhm.
kind of the way that I play these open world games. I know that some people perhaps want to just do the story and go straight through that, but I feel like I am more efficient if I am kind of building my character up, leveling up, and once I get to that story element, I'm not struggling through it, because I'm also playing different difficulties. I change the difficulty all the time.
Mhm.
Um, I kind of enjoy experiencing those different approaches.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I think for me, Dave, this is exactly the question that I've been struggling because I've also been playing AC Shadows, and I've been enjoying it. The thing is I've played a lot of the Assassin's Creeds, and I like them all to varying lengths.
Mhm.
Assassin's Creed Shadows is gorgeous. Like genuinely, like I'm working that photo mode like, like I need
Yes,
money.
sir.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
yeah.
I am out there. I have one problem with it,
Mhm, mhm.
like one significant problem with it, and it's not even its fault. It's because Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 has swallowed me
Interesting.
whole on such a massive scale. I
Right.
don't think I felt this way about an open world Western RPG since
Mm.
The Witcher 3.
Oh, that's big.
And like Assassin's Creed Shadows, like I'm enjoying it, but
Sure.
like the combat isn't really sticky enough for me. Like I want to say like I'm 8 to 10
Oh, we
hours
can get
in.
into it. Mm.
I'm not 100% liking the combat, and that's just because sometimes like I feel like the animations you get like locked into them sometimes, and it's just like I'll see the enemy, especially like the elites, go to like wind up to do one of those big kicks, and I feel like I'm dodging, but I'm mid swing and I can't dodge out of a swing, so I get
Right.
rocked back, and I'm just like, okay, like I was trying to adapt here and I couldn't. But
Hmm.
it's the thing is that Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, as someone who never played the like who tried the original and it really didn't jive with me,
Right.
I genuinely finished almost everything on the first map. I'm now on the second, and I'm feeling no burnout, no slowdown. I want to probably say I'm a good 30 to 40 hours in at this point.
Right.
And like I am locked in. And the open when it comes to open world design, KCD2 is just so
Mhm.
leagues ahead of what Assassin's Creed Shadows is when it comes
Mm.
to that. That like I'm having a hard time feeling the pull. I keep going back to Assassin's Creed Shadows because I want to like it,
Yeah.
but Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is sitting in the back of my brain and it's whispering to me constantly. It's not
That's
like
so interesting.
Shadows has not occupied that same space of my brain to the same
Yes.
effect where I feel like going back to Shadows right now. And again, it's no fault of the game because there's a
No.
lot of the issues that I have with it. I feel like it's my lack of engagement with it, not because the game is doing
Sure.
anything particularly badly, but
Sure.
I just feel so drawn to Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 right now
Mhm.
that like I'm having a hard time playing Assassin's Creed Shadows only because I'm playing it and thinking about somebody else. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like I'm dating this girl, but
Mm.
my ex is on my mind. You know what I mean?
Right, 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 right. And I actually agree. And it's inevitable, right? Because it's interesting. There was a lot of discourse around this game before it was released, and for many, many different reasons. And one of them being like there are games like this
Mhm.
already that exist, and so inevitably they would be compared through this cycle, and you see content everywhere already, comparing, whatever it is, combat or environment or whatever, with Ghost of Tsushima
Mhm.
and Assassin's Creed. And I think the game is victim to that, and especially if they're and not to mention all of the games that are coming out,
That have
and
come out this year and are
yes,
going to continue to come out,
correct,
you
that
know?
have they have been hard hitters, and I think that people, unless you are just playing Shadows, right?
Mhm.
um I don't think that there's not something out there that would be like, oh, I want to play that right now, though, you
And
know.
and and I feel like Shadows, despite I genuinely believe taking Assassin's Creed in some interesting new directions,
Sure.
at the end of the day, is still Assassin's Creed,
Agreed.
for better or for worse. If
Sure.
you like these games and
Mhm.
you enjoy them, and like, Odyssey and Valhalla, and Origins really spoke to you,
Mhm.
then you're going to enjoy Shadows. If they
Correct.
didn't, I don't think Shadows is doing much to really take you away from that. I feel the
Yep.
writing is just about as strong. I
Mhm.
feel like, the combat is just about as strong. They do new things in cool different ways, but at the
Yes.
core of it, I don't think this is going to change anyone's opinion of the series if they don't
Yes.
already enjoy the series to some degree. Now that
Yes.
that degree will change person to person, that level of investment will
Mhm.
change depending on how much you care or how much you want to be involved, but like I am struggling a little bit to connect with the story. I'm struggling a little bit to connect. I feel like the world is almost too dense in terms of its environments
Mm.
and its foliage. I'm getting like lost moving from place to place, not
Sure.
because the world is too big, but because there's like I feel like I'm tripping over this or I'm running into that, and I'm like
Mhm.
like I'm trying to move through a forest. Where Ghost of Tsushima, even the dense areas felt very clean in their design and felt
Fluid.
movable.
Yeah.
Shadows is like there's so much packed in. It's like almost like Horizon, where there's so much
Yes.
packed into one space that it looks beautiful, but
Yeah.
the art of moving through it gets lost, especially if you're on
Yeah.
horseback.
How many times have you run into an invisible wall or
Invisible wall, or like I fell off something,
sure.
or whatever, right? Like those
Mhm.
moments keep happening. And again, by stark contrast, KCD2 is
Yeah.
so it's plains and it's sparse forest, like it's so open, but
Yes.
still feels so lived in and so real that
Right.
like again, all of my issues that I'm having with Shadows just boil down to it's not the other game that I'm playing, and I'm enjoying that more right now.
Fair.
And that's no
Yeah.
fault of Shadows. You know what
Mhm.
I mean?
Yeah. If you're an Assassin's I will say that if you're an Assassin's Creed fan, I've
Yes.
played almost all the titles, you will enjoy the game. And I would say
100%.
even if you're not, you would enjoy the game.
Mhm.
But it does kind of lie in this like middle high, almost high tier, right?
Mhm.
And there's just games that are S tier that you're just like, okay, well, that's what I'm going to play, you know?
Yeah. So yeah, it's not it's not bad by any stretch of the imagination, and people will. I don't think it's an issue of me like playing it over weeks, because I feel like if that game like puts that bug in my brain, I'll
Yeah.
keep coming back to it until I roll credits, right?
Sure,
But
sure.
like again, as parents and Dave as a new dad, if it's something that you're thinking about, like
Yeah.
it is something that like it will take time, obviously. And if you want to stay with it for that long, and granted, from everything
Yeah.
that I've heard, this is a shorter Assassin's Creed comparatively, especially compared to Valhalla, which thank God.
Yes.
Um, you kind of need to buy in. And if Assassin's Creed hasn't
Yeah.
done it for you before, I would genuinely be surprised if this one does.
Yeah. Yeah. I will add on to the fact that this is following Mirage,
Hmm.
and Mirage was kind of like it was Ubisoft's move to Assassin's Creed's roots. That
Hmm.
was really well received. And this is a completely different thing,
Hmm.
I think. It is bigger. Not quite Valhalla. Valhalla is the I think the epitome of big
Bloat.
or too big, right?
Yeah.
Bloat, yeah. And so it's interesting enough.
Hmm.
But the hooks are not that strong, I'll
Yeah.
say.
Yeah. So I think again, it'll come down player to player. I think on this one,
Yeah,
really.
exactly.
To each their own. But like I said, I can't stop playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, dude.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
was dying laughing on the couch earlier today because of this one cutscene where like you're setting up like an ambush. You're trying to break a guy out of like confinement. He's getting transported on the back of this cart, and you like set up this ambush. There's like all these people. You go and you find guns and like in this like olden time, like like these old friggin' things, and like they roll up and you're like, stop, and like the conversation starts, obviously fails, and combat starts, and it's like everybody like unload, like arrows are flying, gunshots are going off, and then like the smoke clears, and everybody that you were aiming at, nobody got hit. The one person that got hit with an arrow in the thigh was your buddy in the back of the cart. And it's just like, it was just such a stupid scene. I could not stop laughing.
So good.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, there's all these little things, like these moments in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 that keep bringing me back, and me being like, I thought I knew how that was going to go. I thought this was going to be like a jailbreak type sequence. And even and it ended up being that. But the lead into it was had so much more personality to it than I was expecting.
Right.
And I should expect better from this game, given that like it's continuously surprised me hour after hour after hour after hour. It's like Dragon's Dogma 2 last year for me, that like even though it's not a series that I cared for, it's not a series I wasn't looking forward to this game. It was not on my hype meter whatsoever. And then I decided to take a chance, and it has swallowed me whole.
Woo! Yes.
Like cannot stop playing it.
Speaking my language there.
Speaking your language.
Dragon's Dogma 2, man. That I'm still picking away at it. I'm like, I've completed it.
That's why, dude. I think you should check out Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
Yeah, I bet.
I think you would fall down that rabbit hole.
I would. I think that I think part of me is like I should really stick to a game that I said I would stick to before moving. Because then it just adds to the backlog. But I will. That was already on the radar, I promise.
Dude, I think it's a very Rice-ass game.
I believe you. I believe you.
Let's hop into some news, my friend, because we have a bunch of stuff to roll through. Our first story to kick off the episode, almost 20 minutes in. PlayStation blog. We got our PlayStation Plus monthly games for the month of April. We are getting RoboCop Rogue City coming to the PS4 to PS5 edition. We're getting the Texas Chainsaw Massacre across PS4 and PS5, and Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth Hackers Memory PS4 version. That is a friggin' great month in my opinion, dude.
Solid.
I've always been curious about RoboCop. I'm not like one that has any affinity for the franchise. Obviously, I haven't watched it. Let's get over it. But hold on.
Love you, Court.
Was there a recent RoboCop that was Dread? I watched the most recent Dread, and that shit ruled. That 10 years ago.
Dread is amazing.
But anyways, I like this game looks cool, and it's not one I ever wanted to spend money on, but it's maybe one that I'll check out. Texas Chainsaw, I really don't give a shit. But Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth Hackers Memory, bro. I'm so excited. I played the original Hackers Memory, the original Cyber Sleuth, and I loved it. Hackers Memory is basically a game that takes place at the same time as the original, but it's running like a parallel story. And by all accounts, this one is supposed to be better. People do like it. So if you're looking for that like PlayStation-esque itch where like, but it's 3-on-3 battles and stuff, and you have your Digimon, you have all these different routes to evolve them ahead of Digimon Story next, the coming whatever this like later this year, Time Stranger. Right. This is such a good pull. I'm so excited for people to check this out. I'm excited to give this one a proper go. I love these games so much. They are so much fun. And Digimon.
And like Digimon, man.
Digimon, bro.
Guys, if you didn't give Digimon a fair shake, like you need to. And this is a great way to jump back in.
This is a great way to jump back in ahead of what's coming later this year. Rice, how are you feeling about this month?
Yeah, man. Good. So RoboCop is actually one that I wanted to play, but same thing. Like I was just spending money on a bunch of other things, right? So I'll play anything with something that I can, play through a story or whatever. So like, and RoboCop admittedly was part of my like, canon in my childhood. I did dress up as RoboCop a couple times.
Shit,
I acted like him. That's how I got into dance as well. I was joking around about being like RoboCop. So this will be a fun one to just mindlessly jump into.
Yeah, exactly.
Texas Chainsaw. Listen, I have a group of people that want to play this, and so that is enough for me to be like, yes, hell yeah, because playing with friends is just hilariously fun.
Texas
Uh,
Chainsaw. This is the like isometric, like
hey,
Dead
so,
by
yeah, yeah,
Daylight
yep,
esque, right?
yes,
With like
exactly
one
that,
killer against a bunch of survivors.
exactly, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I don't know that those games, they're not like my favorite thing ever, but when I'm with friends, like like if I'm running away from someone, yeah, you make your glutes flex a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's just fun that way. And anything Digimon is cool to me. So
Are you gonna play it, Rice?
listen,
Are you gonna play?
I
So
don't
you're
want to
gonna
make
play
any
it?
promises
Promise
that
me.
I can't keep.
Swear to me.
I promise
Thank you.
that this game will get to my backlog.
I'll take it. That's better than nothing. That's better than
It
nothing.
is.
I will accept that.
Oh man. Oh, and oh man, I've forgotten how beautiful Digimon design was. Like,
Dude.
so good,
I
man.
like I love the memes that it's just like Pokemon, it's just like here's a small cat, here's a medium cat, here's a bigger cat. And Digimon's like here's a small cat, here is a woman, here
Right.
is a refrigerator with guns, and it's 100% accurate and it's 100% awesome.
And there's the question, it's like, Pokemon or Digimon in a battle, and it's like, guys, like,
Digimon.
if
Digimon
you
will
understand
wash them.
Digimon, oh, absolutely.
I don't
Absolutely annihilate Pokemon.
I don't care about our Arceus god of this, Palkia god of that. Get the Royal Knights in
Yes.
and it's game over, washed.
Absolutely.
Omnimon, Gallantmon
Right.
will take these chumps to church.
And you cannot tell me that Mega Evolution or Gigantamax was not inspired by Digimon. So,
100%, bro.
you know,
I'm just wait for the DNA Digivolution of Pokemon because it's gonna
totally.
happen. It's gonna
Yes,
be a
it
gimmick.
will.
I
Yep.
I I bet you lots of theoretical money that will happen eventually.
Absolutely, man. Theoretical.
I do fall
Bruh.
for that shit, bro. Come on.
Jeez.
Coming from Eurogamer for our next story, written by Ed Nightingale. Mind's Eye, a new thriller from former GTA producer and Hitman publisher, gets release date. Mind's Eye, the new game from former GTA producer Leslie Benzies, has finally been given a release date. The game was originally revealed as part of Everywhere project from Benzies' studio Build a Rocket Boy. Then in October last year, Hitman developer IO Interactive announced it would be publishing Mind's Eye. Now a firm release date, June 10th, 2025, across PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC, along with a new trailer. There's a whole bunch of pre-order incentives too, blah, blah, blah. Dude, this game, I'm kind of stoked.
Yeah?
Yeah, like weirdly, I don't know why,
Okay.
because I don't think it looks particularly great, but it's giving
Sure.
me like
Talk to me.
Saints Row PS3 energy.
Okay.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah, no, I feel that.
I'm just looking for it looks kind of like a mindless open world shooty drive bang bang
Yes.
explosion. It looks pretty. I'm kind of stoked. Like I think I'm
Yeah.
actually gonna pick this up. Like
It
I
looks
like
fun.
yeah, like it's giving me that PS3 era open
Sure.
world, like schlock. And I'm not trying to
Yeah.
use that derivatively. I just don't think we get a lot of this type of game anymore.
Agreed.
And coming from people who made GTA before, people who have some sort of pedigree to some extent in this
Yes.
genre, I'm very curious to give this a go. Does it
Me
do
too,
anything
man.
for you? Yeah.
Yeah, me too, man. Like, we talk about this all the time, but everything feels like, at least as gaming has evolved, as resources for gaming have evolved, everything is shooting for the stars,
Hmm.
right? And
Hmm.
it's either like a really big hit or like a huge miss, which is what we're seeing in the industry. And like, if it's a miss financially, then we'll get into that. But like it's always just reaching for the skies. And I think that I miss the days when let's pick up a game. I'm maybe not spending like a million hours on it, but damn, I'm talking about it like 5 years later because it looks so fun. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, I'm just gonna have fun with that. And I feel like that's what this is.
I think Chris nails it. I'm getting 7 out of 10 vibes. That's like that. Same,
Totally.
same. And
Totally.
I feel like in yesteryear, in like the PS2, PS3 era, the 7 out of 10s kind of reigned supreme. You had the cream of the crop
Mm,
that floated above it, but I would say the vast majority of games that would come out in that era we're 7 out of 10 because even indies were smaller and stuff, and like the indies at that time were like your journey. So you had this like giant
Sure.
prestigious stuff. You had some of your smaller stuff too, but then there was this massive middle tier of like movie tie-ins, open world games, like all of this like shovelware to some extent, but also some of it was just earnestly trying to
Charming.
be good. And exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't think that area, double A essentially, I don't think that really
Yeah.
exists to the same extent anymore now, because like you have
Agreed.
incredible indies, you have incredible triple A, there's
Mm,
so many quality titles hitting all at once that there
yeah.
isn't a lot of room for 7 out of 10s anymore. But there's
Agreed.
something about this one, and maybe it's just like, maybe it's time and place, maybe it's just where I'm at. Like I
Sure.
want to play it. It looks
Yeah.
dumb. Like I'm kind of in, dude.
I think about that all the time too. Like, is it us? Is like, are we just growing as a generation of gamers? And like, is this idea of nostalgia really what's pulling us in? Creating those fun experiences that I'm alluding to here. Like, something can be incredibly engaging, but and also a story could be so incredible. But a 7 out of 10 can also just give you some really fun, like that stupid thing that you experienced today, that the funniness of
Yeah.
that game, that can be enough to
Mhm.
hold place, in your canon.
That's what I mean. Like, so I'm genuinely curious to check this out. I probably
Yeah.
will be playing it. I don't know. I might review it. Like, we'll see. But like,
Let's go.
I'm curious. I'm curious enough that like if it has solid driving mechanics, a turn off your brain and enjoy it, run and gun story. Like,
Yeah.
I'm in. I'm in.
Same,
I'm
dude.
not. I'm not expecting anything more from that. And if I'm wrong and it's even
Yeah.
better than that, fantastic. Happy to be
Exactly.
happy to have my expectations
Yeah.
surpassed.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Let's head into some WB territory coming from Eurogamer, written by Ed Nightingale once again.
Mm,
Warner Bros. Games reportedly cancels major game expansion as financial woes continue. Warner Bros. Games has canceled a major expansion to Hogwarts Legacy as part of ongoing restructuring, as the company faces
yeah.
financial woes. The planned expansion to the company's biggest success in recent years would have added new storylines on its release later this year, alongside a quote-unquote definitive edition, including all content. However, according to a report from Bloomberg, the expansion has been scrapped. The expansion itself was never publicly
Mm,
announced, but was reported by the outlet last year. In part, the expansion was canceled due to the content not being substantial enough to justify its price, anonymous sources told
hmm.
Bloomberg. Apparently, Avalanche was working with Rocksteady on the expansion, which would restore a storyline based on a companion cut during development of the original game. Rice, I never played Hogwarts Legacy. And just as a random aside, before I ask my
Mm.
question, trans rights are human rights.
Hell yeah.
Trans
Hell yeah.
people are incredibly important. And this is a safe space for everyone and anyone. Um, get fucked
Yes.
if you think otherwise. Did you play
Absolutely.
Hogwarts Legacy?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
Was
It's
was an expansion something that you would have liked?
Yes, because Hogwarts Legacy, as fans would say that it was, you get caught up in the whimsical kind of nature of the release, and a game this big and something. And if you played like Harry Potter video games before, the scale doesn't even really compare.
Oh yeah.
And so to have something like this for people who enjoy the IP was great, and developers communicated, how much love put into all of it.
Hmm.
And so, following that and with that in mind, my friends and I, my wife and I actually, Beck was really excited about this game, and then when she found out there was DLC, she was even more excited. And us as also then became solid critiques of the game as well. As someone who plays RPGs,
Hmm.
uh, a game that kind of swung to be that, wasn't great. Mechanics weren't great. Loot wasn't rewarding. You didn't feel powerful. All of those elements were things that we felt were important to
Hmm.
a game like this, and so we were hoping, that DLC would perhaps address some of that stuff. Um, and maybe pave a way for the future. But also knowing WB and their trajectory, I wasn't really holding my breath, and it is a bummer to a lot of the folks that I was talking about this game too. So
See, Chris, this is my question because Chris in the chat says, I wonder if they're doing that to put all the time to Hogwarts Legacy 2. The thing is,
Hmm.
though, is that Hogwarts Legacy came out when? Do you remember? Was it 2 years ago already?
Whew.
How long ago was, or was it a year ago? But or
Um,
was it beginning of last year,
mm,
or was it older than that?
it's
Regardless,
older,
I feel like
2023,
2023. So it's been out
February
for
10th.
okay, so more than 2 years. You would
Yeah.
have to imagine that since they went gold, the plans for this DLC had started. And I have to imagine that there was a decent amount, especially because if it sounds like they were kind of taking characters cut from the original and kind of reworking the storyline into a separate thing.
Mhm.
Why wouldn't you finish it and drop it at like $20? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like it doesn't have to be, the Witcher 3 expansion level, it doesn't have to be Phantom
Absolutely,
Liberty.
man.
But like if it got players even like 2 hours worth of content and then throw in some like Hogwarts, throw in some Harry Potter skins or whatever, like you throw in some stuff to kind of round out that package a little bit and then throw in on the definitive edition. That feels to me like easy money at a time where they clearly need
Right.
it, because
Yeah.
Hogwarts Legacy 2 is a much bigger
Sure.
task and one that will take years. Like
Agreed.
I don't understand why you wouldn't, and again, at a time where they're clearly hurting financially, unless
Mhm.
they wanted to price this thing at like $50, you know what I mean? And like,
Sure.
and I want to bring up real quick because I don't have this on the docket. But remember that Game of Thrones game that we saw at the
Yeah.
last state of play, and we were all like, "Who asked for this?"
Yes.
Did you know that it came out on PC?
Oh, no way.
Just came out. Did you know that it's a free to play game? Did you know that apparently
Oh,
already it is monetized to shit in early access? You have to
God.
like buy into it to be able to play it now, and then eventually when it hits consoles, I thought that was like a
Right.
full priced AAA Game of Thrones story title. And even then, I was like, maybe if the reviews are good, I'll check it out. The fact that it's a free to play thing instantly destroys any
That's a yikes.
anticipation that I had for it. I
Yeah.
just don't understand what they're doing.
Mm.
Like they're
Mhm.
chasing this like live service whale that like clearly they don't have the IP, or at least
No.
a way to plan out and use their IP in a significant enough way to like, how did like Hogwarts Legacy was one of the top selling
Yes.
games, if not the top selling game, the year it came out, and I'm sure it's continued to sell well since then.
Yeah.
Why would you not want to get money from, even if 10% of those people were to
Mhm.
spend an extra 10 or $15 or $20
Which is
on
easy.
DLC, which is easy to be like, and again, like it was received well, people liked it, people vibed with
Mhm.
it. Why not capitalize that? And then all these people who had never played it on a definitive edition that you could run at $50, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
include the DLC. Like that seems to me like such a waste of space. If this game had just come out 6 months ago, and they're
Yes.
like, "Fuck it, scratch the DLC, let's go full hog on the next one," I could understand that. It's been
Sure.
2 years.
And still generating.
I don't
I
get
don't
it, dude.
understand.
Like,
Yeah.
what are they thinking?
They're not. They're not. I just I really don't have anything to say other than like WTF. Why they're not even good business decisions, right? Like one thing to like to be like, okay, you don't really understand the IP, you don't understand the community, blah 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 blah. But it's like, yo, you're just like, this is bad business. What's going on?
The thing is, it's like I could understand. Like, listen, I hate that they closed Monolith.
Yeah.
I do not agree or do not like a lot of their decisions that they've made in the last handful of months.
Yes.
But I can at least understand them from a cold-hearted business perspective
Right.
that this studio did not perform, whatever it was working on was not up to snuff, regardless of its legacy and its importance in the video game company. If I'm just a businessman who doesn't give a shit about any of that, I can
Yeah.
understand that.
Mhm.
You have a product that's sold well, reviewed well, I'm sure
Correct.
continues to sell. Why not add another SKU on that you could
Yeah.
price a little bit higher than the discounts that Hogwarts, like it's like $20 or something right now on the
Yeah.
on the spring sale. Like
Yes.
there's so much that you could do there. And even if it wasn't like a massive expansion, even if it brought 2 to 3 hours worth of content, like why wouldn't you want that double dip from people? I just don't get like unless this DLC was like not any amount of ready, if this was going to take another year for it to come out,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like
But
I could start to see some sort of picture, but like why wouldn't you want that
but they've
cash, bro?
yeah, they've also and they've had time. It's 75% off right now on PSN.
We needed a Quidditch DLC. Why wasn't Quidditch part of Hogwarts Legacy? Why did it go to friggin' Quidditch Champions, whatever that game that I'm sure was dead on arrival that like all 7 people played? Why wasn't that like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like there's just so many decisions that I'm like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
This is just silly. Like,
You have
why?
you have some of the biggest IPs of all time
Mhm.
across DC,
Right.
across Harry Potter. Fucking let Game of Thrones go, bro. Nobody's
Absolutely,
asking
man.
for Game of Thrones games. Not
Absolutely.
now. If that shit came out 10 years ago, maybe we're having a different conversation. Nobody's
Sure.
asking for that shit now.
And I believe even the negativity uh that was pushed towards this game was just more publicity for the game. Let's be real here. The discourse provided so much conversation,
100%.
and I don't know. Yeah, like you said, as a cold-blooded businessman, I don't understand why you wouldn't.
Chris, I'm one of those 7 Quidditch Champions players. Okay, would you have rather them built out a proper Quidditch mode in Hogwarts Legacy, or do you think that, Quidditch Champions was worth it? And maybe that's a weird way to ask that question, but like, I don't play it. I've never played it.
Valid.
I don't know anybody, and Chris, outside of you just mentioning the fact that you played it, I have never spoken to anybody that has ever admitted to playing it.
I had installed it because I
Same,
wanted to try it,
and then never opened it,
and I
bro.
never got to it.
I never opened it. I'm just confused that at a time when they clearly Hogwarts Legacy Quidditch would have been most
Yeah,
welcome. Like,
yeah,
duh. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. It's like you want a live service, you want a multiplayer mode for a game that could have done well and continues to done well. Like,
Yeah.
like we've seen the success Rocket League had. We've seen the success Fall Guys had. Like there are these moments in gaming over the last decade that you could have tried to capitalize on that same feeling and
On
you
that.
didn't.
Mhm.
You didn't.
Chris, like those missions, you're doing these missions to upgrade your broom, and there was just nothing in the game that you could use your broom outside of exploration. And Quidditch would have been such a great thing to really, expand the game. But anyway,
I don't get it. But again, to each their
WB
own.
man.
WB gonna do what WB gonna do. Let's stay on strange business. Coming once again from Eurogamer, written by Matt Wales this time. Ubisoft launches new business for Assassin's Creed and other big series with a 1.16 billion euro 10-cent investment calls move a quote unquote new chapter for the company. Ubisoft has launched a new subsidiary dedicated to its big 3 IPs, Assassin's Creed, Rainbow Six, and Far Cry, and a move CEO Yves Guillemot has called a quote-unquote new chapter for the publisher. Chinese conglomerate Tencent holds a minority stake in the new entity after investing 1.166 billion euros. Ubisoft announcement follows several reports a new venture was being considered using the company's assets. Earlier this month, Bloomberg claimed that Ubisoft was mulling over the launch of a fresh business unit part owned by outside companies, noting that such a tactic could potentially result in a new entity being valued higher than Ubisoft itself, following years of falling share prices and a string of disappointing games launches. It is also confirmed that the business unit will be the new home of all Assassin's Creed, Rainbow Six, and Far Cry development teams based in Montreal, Quebec, Sherbrooke, Saguenay, Barcelona, and Sofia. They're also going to control the series back catalogs and any new games. Maybe I'm stupid. I don't understand what's the point.
It's just a lot of like, okay, what
That
what
meme of like,
next?
that meme of Obama like putting the medal around himself.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
that's what this feels like to me. Like I don't know if they're just opening the floodgates to let other people in on these franchises to some way, shape, or form. I genuinely worry for all these development teams now more so
Sure.
than before. I don't understand what's the point of
What
this? Like,
value
yeah,
is this bringing to these teams and these IPs really? I mean, if it is really what the word elevate was used in the article, like what is that? These IPs are beloved. We'll say beloved by
yeah. I mean, they are by
right
plenty of people.
by plenty
Um,
of people.
so like, I just like, is it just to try and shake away all the bad Ubisoft press to some extent to have like this new entity that can be called
Hmm.
UB Next or whatever? Like, is it some
Sure.
is it like some publicity spin that also just invites wolves into the henhouse? You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like
Yeah.
Tencent obviously likes to monetize their stuff
Yeah. Yeah.
that nobody expects otherwise. I just is are we going to get more of these games from different developers? Are we going to get the IP
Right.
license out more? Like, what does this look like? Because I just don't understand what this does to what this does that Ubisoft couldn't already do by themselves.
Right. It feels like Ubisoft is like not in a confident place and is like welcoming I don't know, new trajectories or new ideas to make their experiences better. I don't know. I'm reaching for straws here. But
And that's what I mean.
also the article doesn't really give much.
No,
This
because
news doesn't give much.
no, like they do say that like it's going to transform the three IPs that we spoke about into unique ecosystems.
Yeah, like what is it's a lot of fluff.
Greater investment in boosted creative capacities will drive further increases in quality of narrative solo experiences, expand multiplayer offerings with increased frequency of content release, introduce free-to-play touch points, and integrate most social features. This
Touch
sounds like
points.
they're just letting more people in on the development or on the decision-making process.
Sure, sure, sure.
Whether that means we're going to get an Assassin's Creed gotcha game on our phone 2 years from now, or like, you know what I mean? I don't really. And again, like Assassin's Creed, I can understand. Rainbow Six has been huge, but like that is like your, that's your shooter. That's like your
Sure.
competitive shooter. And like even Far Cry seems to feel like it doesn't hold the same weight that it did in like that Far Cry 3, Far Cry 4 era. Maybe
Yeah.
I'm wrong. Maybe it's still, maybe 5 and 6 are still sales juggernauts. I obviously they sold well, but like
Yeah.
I don't feel like outside of Assassin's Creed, Rainbow Six and Far Cry are like the ones to really hang your hats on.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned the mobile thing because there was maybe one or two iterations of a companion app for one of the Assassin's Creed titles. It is escaping me at the moment, but you know, is that an area that they would even touch on?
So Far Cry 6 still did sell 10 million copies in its first year. So like
Right.
still clearly
Still a huge
I'm
IP. Yeah.
still huge IP. I don't know. I don't know what to feel about this, and until we start actually seeing some like actionable stuff from it, I don't know if anybody
Exactly.
really has an answer until we start seeing what this actually what this new venture does or
Yeah,
looks like or adds or doesn't. But we'll definitely keep you posted as we
for
find out
sure.
more. Let's round out with a couple quick stories before we dive into some questions to round out the show. Coming from once again from Eurogamer, classic PSP rhythm adventures Patapon 1 and 2 are shaking off their PlayStation exclusivity. Coming from Matt Wales, a mere 18 years after its original release on Sony's PSP handheld, acclaimed rhythm adventure Patapon is shaking off its PlayStation exclusivity. It's launching for Switch, PC, and PS5 as a 2-game remaster bundle, also featuring Patapon 2 on July 11th. We just had a Nintendo Switch a few days back. This and Hot Shots. Not included in this article,
Oh,
but Hot Shots getting a new entry, and again, also um, coming to the Switch and stuff. It's leaving the PlayStation exclusivity stuff behind. Um,
honestly, good move.
have you played Patapon and or Hot Shots? Because I've not really spent time with either.
Hot Shots, yes. Now let's just confirm. We are talking about Hot Shots Golf.
Golf, yes.
Okay, yes, I have played all of the Hot Shots games.
Okay, okay.
That's a weird
Hot Shot
flex.
aficionado.
But but growing up, with I often talked about gaming with my uncle and my cousin, and we
Mhm.
played a lot of racing games. We also played golf together.
Hell yeah.
And so Hot Shots was something that we played often and competitively.
Hell yeah. Dude, I always like a good fun golf game. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like
yeah,
they hit. They hit.
they do.
It's just interesting because I started digging into this a little bit because I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, like why now?
Yeah.
Why is PlayStation um opening up IP? And like I think the biggest thing is that Studio Japan seems to have been the one
Mm,
handling both of these franchises previously, and obviously since that got closed,
yeah.
maybe they decided to kind of open up, like even like Hot Shots, I think was traditionally made by a company called Hand Claps. And they're not making this one.
Right.
It's Bandai Namco seems to be publishing and handling development with one of their teams, but it's just interesting that like
Clap
because
hands.
Clap Hands, thank you. Um, because both of these games I know have their fan bases, and Greg Miller, especially from Kind of Funny, massive Patapon guy, has been asking for one for years. Um, just I'm stoked that more people are going to get their hands on it. It's just I wonder if this was because they didn't have anybody internally that they wanted handling these IPs anymore.
Yeah,
Because
interesting.
Studio Japan was like seems to have been working on these franchises with whoever was also developing them.
Right.
Um, maybe with the loss of Studio Japan, they're kind of like, you know what? Let's
Why not?
Why not? Let's put these out there. Let's let people play.
Everybody's doing it.
Everybody's doing it. They already let Lego Horizon. They let
Yeah,
people in on Lego Horizon. So why
true.
not? Why not Patapon? Uh,
Mhm.
and uh, and Hot Shots. I think ultimately a good decision. I
So
think a good call.
what is Patapon's what is Patapon? I have never played that.
It's like a rhythm. It's a rhythm game where like you're controlling all
Okay.
these like almost like little Pikmin-esque characters on a
Oh,
screen,
okay.
and like when you're playing, like if you do like X X X to the beat, like that'll
Right.
make them move. If you do like X square triangle,
Got
it'll
it.
make them attack. Like so, it's like
Okay,
it's a
okay.
rhythm. It's a rhythm based game.
Interesting.
That's kind of the extent of the knowledge that I have about it. I've never played it, but I know people really like them.
Ah, I
The
might
rhythm
try it.
the rhythm based games, people like these ones. So yeah, just cool that it's cool that they're kind of opening the
Mhm.
floodgates a little bit. I'm curious to see what this might mean in the future. If we might see more kind of legacy PlayStation IP hit other places,
Totally. Mhm.
because I think these are like, neither one of these are ever going to be system sellers or going
Yeah.
to be the thing that really moves the needle for a lot of people. But whoever
Yep.
can get on board, why not?
Exactly.
One more news story to close this out, coming from Eric Van Allen. Microsoft CFD collaborates with Sony's Destiny 2 for a new crossover. I knew I needed to bring this in for Rice. As Sony property is crossing over into a Microsoft game, Sea of Thieves has received new cosmetics from the world of Destiny 2, bringing the fight against the darkness to the high seas.
Yeah.
The Lightbearer cosmetics set offers new flags, ship cosmetics, and a costume set, and more. Dude, is is this something that are you stoked about this? Like, how are things? I saw this and I was like, what?
Yeah. Okay. So I have the same reaction. Um, I I I guess let's say that if Sea of Thieves stuff were to show up in Destiny 2, I would be more like, "Oh yeah, absolutely." I'm more a Destiny 2 player, so like I can't speak to this as a Sea of Thieves community member. So
Mhm.
if there's anyone out there that can speak to it, this like seeing this character here dressed like one of our favorite characters in Destiny 2, I think is very charming. It's a nice nod. I was like, oh yeah, that's Drifter. That's Drifter. That's definitely Drifter right there. And all seeing all of these flags and stuff was pretty cool. But outside of what I saw in this trailer, I'm not jumping towards this. I really am happy for anyone that is excited about this because I know that Sea of Thieves has an amazing community and they have a lot of fun on that game, man. So, but as for me, in this group of people as the Destiny 2 player, it doesn't really grip me.
I do think it's cool just that again, we're starting to see more of this weird melding of things. I never would have
Totally.
guessed we would have seen any PlayStation quote unquote IP. Like
Mhm.
I don't know if it's some weird in between because Destiny obviously was across Xbox and stuff as well. Like
Sure.
maybe there's some middle ground here, but like is there now hope that now that Xbox is effectively becoming more of a publisher, do we see Halo in Helldivers? Does
Sure.
this open up the floodgates to potentially more kind of bleed between franchises across these historic rivals, now friends? um I'm just kind of curious to see what this could bring. Again, not anything for me. I played a bunch of Sea of Thieves when it came out on
Yeah.
PlayStation. I really like it. Not enough for me to really go back for a Destiny thing, but I think it's cool.
Yeah, man. Like, and I really do agree that these collaborations, they generate positivity between communities, and really that's what I'm passionate about, is building bridges between communities and
Mm-hmm.
being more inclusive in those spaces. So like these decisions are ultimately really, really good. And so
Mm-hmm.
like I think the weirdness of it is the newness of it,
Exactly.
not so much the like, oh, why would you do that? It's not a gatekeepy thing.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, that's
It's a
fun.
it's like a surreal thing. I think especially for
Yeah.
our generation,
Yeah.
kind of in like plus or minus 5 years in either direction, because we grew up in like the midst of the console wars that like I feel
Totally,
like a lot
man.
of younger kids who might be playing these games now are like, whatever, fuck,
They
there's an
don't
Xbox.
care.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it doesn't matter to them. Let's kind of stay on this Xbox PlayStation train with our first major question coming from Chris Zazer himself, who's hanging out with us in the chat. Says, with
Chris.
Xbox games coming to PlayStation, is there a particular PlayStation game you'd like to see release on Xbox?
Oh.
For me, I don't hate the idea of Spider-Man
I was just gonna say
kind
that.
of moving the thing. I feel like, especially because Marvel is a very universal thing,
Such a big IP.
it's always felt kind of weird for me that like a Marvel IP was kind of locked to one platform. Again, I love them. I love Insomniac. I
Of
adore these
course.
games, but like Spider-Man just feels like one of those ones that like should be on Xbox as well. You know what I mean? Like those games would,
Spidey at that.
you
One
know.
of the biggest, most relatable characters
Hmm.
in the universe. And so yeah, man, I agree. Totally agree with that. Is there anything outside of that you're thinking of though?
Death Stranding. Again, it's
Yeah,
Kojima.
Kojima. Yeah, that
Kojima,
makes sense to me.
like I feel like again, especially because Metal Gear started to bleed and stuff too.
Not to
Like
mention the premise of Death Stranding too, of being connected.
linking
Yeah,
strand type
bridges.
games, bridges, Sam's,
Sam.
Sam's. Like I feel like yeah, but would it be a little like ultimately? I kind of think like all of these games coming across would be cool.
Totally,
Yeah,
man.
would it be a little bit weird for like Astrobot, being like this like celebration of PlayStation heading to Xbox?
Right.
Sure, but like I think a lot of people would be able to just see past it and play the game. But if I had to like pick a couple, I think Spider-Man makes sense. I think Death Stranding makes sense. Even Helldivers makes sense. I
Helldivers
mean,
makes
especially
sense.
because it's already on
Absolutely.
PC. It's already on PC. Why not just let it hit Xbox and let them rake money in?
Mhm.
Um, that's and Chris in the chat. Imagine Peter Parker getting a Master Chief inspired suit. Like, yeah, like I remember back in the day with like Soul Calibur. Do you remember that was it Soul Calibur 4 that had like Master Chief on Xbox? It had like Link in on the Nintendo version, and then it had
Would've been
somebody else on the
2.
PlayStation. Was it 2?
2.
So thank you. Soul Calibur 2, but like that, like what a cool era of video games. You know what I
So
mean?
good.
Like just let them just do the thing. You
Just
know?
do the thing, man.
Do the thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Any games that I'm forgetting? Anything out of left field, Grace, that I'm not thinking about here?
I mean, like you say, like all of these games would be great. Like I'm past the whole exclusivity thing. I hear you about the Astrobot, but Astrobot's just such a great game, right? And just like
Mhm.
I no longer subscribe. Maybe at one point in time, I gatekept a little bit, gatekept a little bit,
That
but
feels like a young man's game.
it was a young man's game.
Feels
It
like a
was
young
when
man's game.
but I was also very fortunate to have played on very, very
Mhm.
different consoles. And so I owned one,
Mhm.
my uncle owned one, and my cousin owned one. And so we were like, why limit our power level?
Yeah.
Now I sound like that on the next episode
Oh,
of
Dragon Ball Z. Vegeta dies. That's the title. Don't worry about spoilers.
Trunks powers up for 30 minutes.
Dude, the titles of those episodes were always like, what the fuck am I watching the rest of this for? It's like, shocking battle. Goku achieves Super Saiyan 3. What next? And it's just like, well, fuck.
That was the episode.
That's the entirety of
And
the
the
next 20
synopsis.
minutes. Yeah, like why?
Oh man. But
Coming
yeah,
out
man. All of that, all of
Yeah,
that. I
all
don't
of
I
that.
don't I don't want to gatekeeping. Gaming's for everybody, and like I think that we're moving to a different era.
Hmm.
That will you'll likely see a lot more collaborations than we did see before.
Yep. Jaden Rose writes in saying, "Hey guys, question for the podcast. What's up, Jaden? If you
What
could choose any musician or band to compose
so
a
good,
soundtrack for a PlayStation game, who would it be and what genre of game would they score? Stay south and healthy." Love this question. Dope ass
so
question.
good, so good.
Do you have one locked and loaded?
Yeah, I do actually. So the easiest answers are all already people who have been involved in the video game industry and the music there. So I'm gonna say, like, for example, Koji Kondo, who does music for Nintendo games primarily. I would love to see some of their work on some PlayStation IPs. I would love to see um just a different take on some of these more like big games. Like I thought about Hans Zimmer, and I thought about John Williams,
Ooh.
all those big composers, but
Ooh.
they have been in video games before.
Hmm.
But let's say a John Williams in what am I thinking here? John Williams in a Ghost of Tsushima
Hmm.
would be incredible.
Hmm.
I've grown up listening to so much of his work. Hans,
Hans.
I'm just, let's just quickly check what has Hans done in the video game industry, because he's done a lot already.
Good old Hans Zimmy.
Uh, yeah, man. While I'm searching that up, and anybody come to mind for you, Matt?
See, I went much more than like the artists that I listen to now, like
Yeah.
who would I Stray Kids for me, like
Oh, nice.
Three Racha already does like a lot of their like their own production and music making,
Mhm.
and their music is so eclectic and all over the place, like
Yeah,
in the best way. I really enjoy it, and their
yeah.
music is always just so like high energy, constantly like switching beats, switching genres. Like one song starts
Mm.
somewhere and then goes in a completely left way, in like the left direction. I'd like to see them do like an action game like Stellar Blade type thing,
Oh, nice.
like in that world, because I think they could make just like a fucking banger of a
Absolutely.
soundtrack. Like I think, like from incredible melodies to just like in your face raps. Like I think
Oh, yeah.
I think they could do it. I would want Run the Jewels to do
Ooh.
like a Sifu-esque kind of, like, again, just like heavy action game. Like just like in
Yes.
your face, hard hitting, just like constantly like boom, boom, boom. Like, you know what I mean? Like I want to feel the beats as I'm like beating the shit out of people.
Yes.
Um, and like again, they've worked with Cyberpunk. So like,
Mhm, mhm.
an easy bridge to cross. Jade in the chat. Yeah, Stray Kids already had a collab with Deadpool. Exactly. Like I
Right.
feel like their music already is very video gamey in spirit.
Mhm.
So I feel like that kind of transition would be easy. And then give me like I would just want like a new Tony Hawk with like all recent pop punk. Give me State
Totally.
Champs. Give
Yeah.
me give me the home team. Give me give me all time low, like all this like
All time low.
all modern era pop punk, and throw
Yeah.
that in a new Tony Hawk. Just like, because I feel like for us growing up, that era of Tony Hawk was just so seminal for us finding music, me especially. Like so
Agreed.
many artists and stuff that I connected with through that. Like give me a Day to Remember. Give me all this like in your face, like awesome pop punk on a
Da
new
da 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 da.
kickflip, like that's what I want. That's what
Yes,
I want.
sir.
Like
Yes.
that's what I want. Again, not I know that Tony Hawk isn't explicitly like a PlayStation franchise, but like I that kind of like high energy
Mm.
awesomeness, like, and one last one. I want Bon Iver to go ham on a Kojima game,
I was
like
also gonna say, but
like on a Death Stranding type. Like
totally, man.
let Bon Iver go ham.
Falsetto, all of that.
Falsetto,
Like,
all of
no,
that.
also Novo Amor, if you are familiar with the artist, there
Familiar.
was a song called Haven that was on Life is Strange True Colors.
Mhm, mhm,
And also in the realm of falsetto,
mhm.
that was incredible. Incredible. So there's a ton. This conversation, this question, by the way, Jaden, was like amazing.
I'm gonna plug my own work here real quick for a second,
Mhm,
because over
mhm.
on But Why Though, I actually did a K-pop video game collaborations piece. I said
Oh,
Stray Kids Dragon Ball. You know,
Oh,
that's
nice.
just pop off. Give me Giotto and Like a Dragon. You know, give me 17 and Sonic.
Oh
Give me
yeah.
Epic High and Kind Words. Give me Itzy and Hades. Give me BTS and Persona, bro.
BTS,
For
let's go.
anybody looking for it, go check that out. I did that a little while ago and had a lot of fun putting that piece together.
I love it.
One more question to round things out, coming from our friend Black Wyver, saying, hello, I've got two questions. How hyped are you all for Marvel Cosmic Invasion? So hyped, bro.
Crazy.
So hyped. Easily one of my favorite things from that Nintendo Direct was that trailer started and I thought it was like a retro, like, you know, like a classic,
Yeah,
you know,
man.
arcade Marvel. And like for me, I have a hard time connecting with those games sometimes. But then the more I saw it, you have Nova, bro.
Yeah.
You have Quasar. You have some like
Crazy,
you have some
dog.
deep cuts as these characters, and from like Dot Emu and stuff, coming from like the same folks who did like the recent TMNT games and shit.
Mhm.
I will be seated day one. My wife and I
Yes,
my
sir.
wife loves these games. We played Streets of Rage together. We played TMNT together. She loves these types of games. And she loves Marvel. So bringing these two things together, I am so stoked. That was easily one of the highlights of that Direct for me.
Absolutely. That's an easy win. Easy win. And the same thing with me. Like Beck and I, we take pride in the opportunities that we have to play games together. And so this is something that interests us both. It's funny that this is Marvel that we're talking about right now, because we actually had a movie marathon today with Nico, and we've been watching Avengers movies all day.
Let's go, bro. Sound good.
And so we've just been
Ooh.
deep in that. And actually we were also discussing like the Doomsday cast announcement, and just like we're fully in the Marvel anything. So
And all I'm gonna
this is
say,
incredible. Yeah.
all I'm gonna say is I know people didn't like that. I was tuned in, bro. I was like, give me another
Oh,
chair. I was like,
absolutely.
put another chair down, bro. I dare you.
More.
I dare you. I dare you. Put another
More.
chair down. I like that it was weird. I like that it took forever. All
Yeah.
the things that people didn't like. I am still an MCU fanboy. I am still like
Same.
so plugged into all of this. I know the quality hasn't been there. Blah 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 blah. I am still seated every time anything rolls
That's
around,
the
bro.
thing,
I am
bro.
still seated every time.
I will give my notes, but at the end of the day, I'm still giving flowers, bro,
Yeah,
because like it's just
like next time, bro, just let me know, and so I can bust out my own chair to sit down and watch you bring out chairs. You know,
facts.
I'm all for it. I think yes, just like a cast announcement would have been cool, but like so many people would have got lost in that shuffle. This one gave
Agreed.
everybody a couple minutes of like, oh my god, this dude,
Yes,
no way, OG Nightcrawler, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Alan Cumming,
bro. Like what?
Like unreal. I had a great time with it.
And you can say what you want about the X-Men movies, but X2, that Nightcrawler scene, the intro is still one of the most badass intros to a movie. I don't care what anybody says. I will die on this hill.
Preach.
So badass, bro.
Yeah, I will die on that hill right alongside you.
Yes.
Black Wyver's second question. This one is more for Court Lalonde. Sorry, Court. No question for you. So I'm gonna toss over to Rice because I feel like he can field it just as well, if not better. Since you're a massive fan of Back to the Future, you are a Back to the Future fan.
Yeah, man,
correct?
I'm a huge fan.
Have you played the game? Would you recommend it? Cheers.
That is a great question. I'm afraid that you might not like the answer. I have not played the game. Okay, hold on. Back to the
Wasn't this like the Telltale?
What was it released for?
I was just like back in the PS4 like 360 era.
It was PS4.
Telltale. Yeah, it was
PS4.
Telltale, bro.
It was a Telltale game. Oh no way! And I love the Telltale games. How did I miss this one? I haven't played this one. But now I am intrigued.
Now he will add to the backlog and play it maybe sometime in the future. And then once he plays it in the future, we will get back to it.
Absolutely. This is why we need to be able to upload consciousness so we can finish our backlogs.
This is why.
Exact reason.
Chris in the chat says it was fun. So there you go. Chris's stamp of approval.
There you go.
Back
That's all you need. Chris says it's good. It's fun.
Chris says it's good. It's good. That brings us to the end of this week's show. Fam, thank you so much for hanging out with us, for watching, for playing. For all of you folks, like the questions the past couple weeks, bro. Listen, our questions are always solid, but there've been a bunch,
really
and there've been some hitters. So thank you to everybody who tosses questions our way. We always enjoy answering them. We always enjoy talking to you folks about all the cool things. We will be obviously back next week for episode 50. Episode 50.
And by then I will have actually a more well-rounded opinion of Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Me too.
It is okay. So I just got to address to anyone who's viewing this right now. We were watching a music video with choreography, and I have been having difficulty not moving my arms around and doing all of the things. So
we were jamming out to Dash by NMix as we came into this.
It's too catchy.
And it's been stuck in my head for days now, and I can't. Fuck, man, I don't know. I'm gonna go finish watching the video right after we finish this. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's lodged in my brain.
So bro. Good.
Right. Well, Jesus Christ, that's a court level thing to do, bro. I just called you court. That's an all timer. Bryce, my dude. Yes. Where can we find you?
Absolutely. You can find me on my Linktree /Rice BOYYY TV. I'll be streaming some Assassin's Creed this week. And the channel is enabled for drops. Thank you to Ubisoft for that. So come by, hang out, see what I'm doing on the game, and get your drops, bro. Get your drops.
Go see Rice get those drops. Get them for Assassin's Creed Shadows. Rice will have them for you. You're gonna walk in and be like, "What's up, Bryce?" And he's gonna be like, "Drop."
Boom.
Drop.
Stay a while.
You can find Court at 3 Dads in a Console each and every Wednesday. He has his MLB The Show review is either live on the site or will be live soon, so please be excited for that. As for myself, you can find me here on Console Creatures. You can find us here, obviously, on PlayStation Generation every week. And you can find my words over on butwhythough.net, folks. Everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Stay warm, stay well. In all these chaotic times, all we got is each other, so be good to one another. Unless the person that you're being good to sucks ass, then don't be good to them. Throw fists, get mad, stay pissed. We love you all. Peace.